Assalamualaikum and good greetings. So today I'll be watching a video by Scary Lil Muslim Girl. That is an interesting channel name. The video titled My Convert Story, How I Converted to Islam at 12! Exclamation mark, question mark. Channel introduction. So this is actually her first video in this channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's watch.
Assalamualaikum. This is my first YouTube video.
Waalaikumsalam
Kind of
warahmatullahi.
nervous. I'm filming now because it's the only time when the house will be quiet. So yeah, bear with me on this one. So
Should I say this? But no, what just okay, this is totally beside the point. I'm sorry about this, but when she said that, suddenly I have a flashback of that animation movie Up, where that kid, right? I'm not sure why suddenly I thought of that kid when she had that expression just now.
oh gosh, I'm talking to myself. This is so weird. Yeah, so I'm 15. I converted to Islam when I was 12.
Okay, I think in one of the recent videos, I was amazed that someone actually make a big life decision at 19, I think, because I mentioned at 19, I don't even make any, this is a significant decision in my life, but now this is 12. I mean, she is now 15, and she's talking about when she make that decision. I'm not sure her story yet, but wow, 12.
And yeah, I guess I'm just gonna explain how I did that and what's going on. Sorry, you can see the shadow of my cat. Oh, now you can see my cat. Okay. So yeah, when I was let's get up. Yeah, sorry. So when I was 12, this is so awkward. So when I was 12,
It seems like this is the first time she's talking to the camera. It seems like that, in terms of the feeling of awkwardness. Of course, I had that moment as well when I started.
Before then, I was born and not really raised Christian. I never really went to church or anything. I think I went a total of 5 times in my life, but I was raised to always believe in God and all that. So I did, and I always did. Though I never really had any experiences. I never felt like any of my prayers were ever answered. It just wasn't that close. But I guess I kind of identified as Christian. And then when I was 10, I decided, no, I'm gonna be Christian. I'm gonna start being heavily Christian. I'm gonna start going to church. I just felt like I needed God in my life. So I was like, great, I'm gonna start this. Oh my gosh, the cat is moving my chair. So I went to some churches. My mom was happy enough to take me. She's Christian. She was born and raised Christian, but she doesn't really like organized religion, so she never really, was Christian. But I didn't really connect to anything. I went to a couple of churches, but I didn't really like any of them or what they were teaching. But I still believed in God. So I was like, okay, so what am I gonna do? So I'm 10, closer to 11, and I start looking into religions. And at this point, I'm just really fed up. And I'm kind of annoyed, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be Christian. What the heck? And
Do 10, 11 years old kid think like this? Is this normal? I mean, I cannot recall at that age I think about stuff like this, right? It's more like, I don't know what I'm thinking, but it's definitely not like God, religion. Is this normal?
And so I just jumped to Buddhism, which the more I learn is actually kind of common for converts, like Buddhism then Islam, and I'm like, oh, so I'm a stereotype or not? I don't know. Cat, stop. So, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to hold this still. And so, yeah, so yeah, I go to Buddhism, and but Buddhists don't believe in like God, but like they're just open, so they're like, hey, believe whatever you want, it's fine, just like follow our steps and you're cool. So I did that, and there's a Sunday school for like the young kids, and I never went to that because I just really didn't feel like it. So I read a book about Buddha and all that, and it was a good book. Like, it was very interesting, but I really didn't connect to it, and I was really depressed. I mean, I've been depressed and like anxiety, and I've had like a lot of things. Like, I have Tourette's and Ehlers-Danlos and all that. So like, and I've had these problems since I was like 10 and younger. So I'm always like had depression because I'm like, so yeah, I was really sad. I didn't have good family connections. I didn't really have a family. I was being really bullied at school. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a religion. And I came up with so you need like 3 things in my life, and I don't have any of these 3 things. I need to have at least one. I can't change my family. I can't change the fact I'm being bullied, but I can change my relationship with God. So I'm going to really, really start focusing on this. So I researched everything. Judaism, Christianity, Sikhism, even Wicca, and then I came upon Islam, and I wasn't really like the first video I watched, because of course this is all done on YouTube, #GenZ, but the first video I watched, I felt a connection, I felt a click, but I didn't want to. I was, nah, this isn't happening. So I just stopped. I watched a couple of videos, but I'm like, I don't want to be Muslim. Like, this isn't my religion. Like, come on. So I stopped. I wait, and I completely stopped for 3 months. Like, I refuse to watch any videos because I don't want to get dragged into this. And here I am. I got dragged into it. But after 3 months, a video randomly popped up, and I'm like, dang it, here we go again. And I'm maybe 12 at this point. And so I watch it, and I get really into it. I learn everything I can. I read every single, my middle school was awesome. They had books on every religion. Like, they had a bunch of books on religion. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, what is the school librarian and me checking out like a pile of like books on Islam, and they'd be like, okay. But yeah, so I read about all that, and after a couple months of reading and learning everything I can, I kind of bring it up, gosh, the cat, I kind of bring it up in a conversation with my mom, because like we were just talking about religion, and I kind of asked her, I was like, what would you do if I was Muslim? And she kind of made a joke about, oh, you have to cover your hair, and I'd be like, ha ha ha, but no, but like seriously. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah. She thought it was a phase. I mean, I'm 12, like no 12-year-old converts to Islam, right? But so yeah, she thinks it's a phase. She's like, yeah, sure, learn about it, tell me about it, let's do it. That's like, yeah. And I end up finding, wasn't exactly a masjid, it was like a temporary masjid, because my city didn't have one, and there were plans to build one. There is one now, alhamdulillah, but there wasn't then. And so there's just this like little meeting of like in somebody's house and there's like back room in somebody's house, so we go there. My mom drives up, and we know this is place because there's a bunch of like hijabis walking in, and like they're all walking into this place. Hi, cat. And so my mom's like, is this the mosque? This lady is like, yeah. Like just looking at it, I was like, what? who are these two people? And they're just randomly showing up with no information.
That brings memory, not to take away from her story, but I'm not sure where she is from. Haven't come across that information yet. But because when I was back in France, right? So normally for most cities, you cannot find a masjid or mosque that symbolizes masjid and mosque, right? So normally it is just a normal house being used as a masjid, at the garage or whatever, right? In the house, they develop, they renovate in the inner side. But from the outside, for those who do not know, they will never guess that is a masjid.
And you know, I like I showed up because I wanted to try my best to be modest to show up. So I come out, it's like somewhat short sleeve. It was actually my mom's dress, so it was like pretty oversized on me. I went down to like my knees, and then I wore like, it looked horrible. I looked like trash, but I was trying. And so, oh my gosh, the cat. So we go in and all that, and like there's a bunch of nice ladies, and they have baklava, and they got so many sweets.
Sound like a Turkish mosque, right? When you see baklava there.
And my mom's like a huge fan of baklava, so she's like, ooh, yum. And I'm like, ooh, yum. And so we sit down, and like my mom was like, oh, my daughter's interested in Islam, like, what's up? And so, you know, I already knew a whole lot. And one of my favorite memories is like, so they're telling us a bit about like, you know, the 5 pillars of Islam and what life is like for a Muslim. And you know, then I go on to, you know, like they're trying to tell the story of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, sorry, this is so making me so nervous. I don't know, I don't like talking to myself. But so, and I, you know, I finished off the story because I knew it and I loved the story. And like they were very impressed, and they were like, oh, mashallah, oh, you know the story, oh. And I'm like, yeah. My mom was like, huh? So yeah, and I kind of, that was the Sunday before Ramadan, and I count that as the day I converted, because I was basically like Muslim before that, but like I count that as the day I basically became Muslim. Like there wasn't like a huge thing for me where I was like, you know, went on ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I was like, you know, in like this big formal setting. It was just I was just Muslim, and I just said the shahada kind of on my own, but like a lot. It was like, it was a whole thing. I know, well, actually it wasn't a whole thing, it was no thing, but but yeah. So I started, I participated in that Ramadan, and I have iron problems. I'm anemic, and I have low blood sugar problems. So fasting to this day, still not really a possibility, but I try. I may feel dizzy, I may nearly pass out, but I try. I go until I pass out, but that's not like good, but I do because I'm not good, but yeah. Yeah, and I started attending the Sunday classes for young kids and learning everything I could, and yeah, you know, it was so fun like going to the Sunday classes, and I got to meet some really good friends. Oh, one of my favorite memories is I go to a Sunday class, and you know, the kids are like, why isn't she wearing hijab? We're supposed to wear hijab to Sunday class. And I'm like, I don't understand anything. And because I'm like, what? And so one of the favorite things is, because again, this is when the masjid was built. I'm a bad storyteller, excuse me. But yeah, this is after the masjid was built, so we're taking classes in the masjid. Gorgeous masjid, by the way. But like, it's right behind the person's house where the temporary masjid was. So like the girl who lives there, the runs back, it's just bad storytelling, gets a hijab, and like they dressed me up like a Barbie doll, and it was hilarious because they're all sitting there like, no, let me do it, no, let me do it. And I was just like, what? What's going on? And excuse me. But yeah, that was, yeah, one of my favorite memories, because it was like with all the girls, and yeah, some of them are like my best friends like I've ever had. And yeah, and I remember it was Eid, was the first Eid, and we went, and it was this huge party kind of thing. I was still vegetarian at that point, but they had so many good foods, and they had a huge bouncy house. Oh my gosh. And 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 that's when I met my best friend now, Sumaya. I won't give any more personal detail out, but yeah, she came up, and I thought they were the mean girls, and then I went over to her house, and it was one of my good memories. And we were invited over to her family's house, and I was like, oh, you're the mean girl? And I got really scared. She's actually the nicest person I've ever met, so shows you what I know. But the cat's trying to get out. 1 minute.
Few moments later.
So yeah, Eid, one time and they were so nice. The community was so nice. I've heard there's a lot of problems with like Muslims being really mean to converts, but I never experienced that once. Maybe like online is some YouTube comments or on Reddit, but I mean Reddit's like Reddit, so you can't expect much from there. But yeah, no, I've never experienced, like, they gave me prayer mats, hijabs, books, so many books. Oh my. But yeah, it was so great, and it was so fun learning everything. And now I'm 15, almost 16. And yeah, so I've almost been Muslim for 4 years. On last, was it June, or yeah, I think it was June, or no, not July, June 5th. I don't even remember anymore. I have it written down somewhere. And so when I like put on hijab and all that, and so yeah, I've come really far. It's just like so poorly put together. I might have to reform this, but yeah. And again, it's been really hard to be a young teenager, even a kid, a child. I wasn't even a teenager yet, and become Muslim, and have to navigate all of that, because I've never met anyone else my age and like where I am. And like my family is, I've not one family member who is Muslim yet, but inshallah, always inshallah. But yeah, even my family, they don't really like Islam. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, I've been wanting to put on hijab since I was like 12, but I had to wait till I was 15, because there was a lot of back and forth with me and my mom. We were like, peace, and she was like, no, and I'm like, peace, and she was like, no, and then she was like, yeah, and then I was like, yay. And yeah. But yeah, it's hard a lot of times to, especially because all my friends, they're obviously born Muslims, and it's hard to like see like a lot of like, oh, that family dynamic of praying together, and like reading Quran together, fasting together, and it's like, oh, I wish I could have that. But like, inshallah, one day, like, if not with my parents, like, at least I have it with my kids when I'm married and all that. So I just look forward, and I look forward to the future and all of that. And yeah.
How many of us, I'm guessing if anyone was still watching, you're probably Muslim, right? How many of us cherish those things, doing those things with your family, right? Because things that we take for granted, and because we take for granted, we don't see. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing here, because some do put emphasis on that, but some,
Right now I just keep trying to grow my iman and keep trying working on praying 5 times a day. I mean, it took me 3 years to learn how to pray. It's because nobody teaches you this stuff. Like, there's no YouTube video. Like, there's some YouTube videos on how to pray, but they're extremely confusing. Like, there needs to be some kind of system set up. Like, I've heard some masjids have like convert classes, which is like nice, but like mine didn't, that's for sure. And it took me 3 years to learn how to pray, but alhamdulillah, I know how to pray now. Yeah, and I've memorized okay amount of Quran, like no more than any other teenage girl my age, Muslim girl my age, but Yeah, you know, I keep learning and I keep reading. I keep immersing myself in the community. I've made actually a couple of Muslim like convert friends now. Of course, they're all older than me, but yeah, I've made a couple, and that's really nice to like know other converts who are like in my like they don't have family to talk about things with. But yeah, this is kind of like I guess an intro to my channel, kind of just like introducing my story, and like yeah, I'm gonna be posting a lot more stuff, probably, inshallah. You know, that's how it is. That is. But yeah, because I got a lot to say, and I guess you know, especially for other kids, like other teenagers who may be thinking of converting to Islam, already have converted, even like adults who have converted when they were young. Like it's just somebody like if anyone needs anyone to relate to, I guess I'm here. Right? It's cringy, I guess. Like yeah, but yeah, it's really hard to be a convert in general to any religion, especially Islam. But like if you are, good job, number one, and you're so strong, number two, and number three, keep it up. Like geez, like just you're doing fantastic. Like don't stop. Like clearly you're a smart individual and you clearly know what you're doing and all that jazz. But yeah, just
Okay, so that is her first ever video on YouTube, I guess. There's a lot of things there. First is her experience becoming a Muslim, and then her life basically, and then also just a teenage Gen Z, as she said it, I think, expressing out, sharing what she feels, right? Which is interesting to see, because this is the first ever, I think, someone of this age becoming a Muslim and share that I have ever seen. Maybe if you have or you know any other channel of similar age, please do let me know, because I'm interested to see how they articulate what they feel, what they go through, etc. Right? And hopefully I will remember to put the link for this channel in the description box below, because I think it's best if she get sufficient support. I'm not sure, because at that age, you know, but the way she, you know, from her story, you know, she have done the required, you know, research beforehand, so she should have a strong reason why she want to become a Muslim. I'm not sure about her dynamic with her mom, but from the conversion itself, or the process of becoming Muslim itself, the mom seems open enough. Yeah, because at that age you should still be under the roof of your parents, and yeah, if there's a big resistance there, of course the life would not be. But from anyway, I'm just saying I'm interested to know more from her, inshallah. All the best for her, and thank you for watching, if you're still watching until this point, and see you next time.